Hey everybody, this is episode number 80 of Bobcat Corner, and I'd like to introduce you guys again to my co-host Mike Coleman. He is the co-founder of BobcatAttack.com. Thanks again for joining me here, Mike.
Thanks
And
for having me.
yep, thanks, Mike. And let's just get right to it with the topics here. And before we do begin, I should say that if you guys are new to this channel, new to my channel, SCV Castle, feel free to subscribe, click the notification bell so you can get updates on video content that we're making here. And if you have any suggestions for future topics, feel free to click on the link, the Telby link that says Bobcat Corner Speak Up. That will be in the description box below. So you can record up to 1 minute audio message as to what you want us to talk about here on Bobcat Corner. With that out of the way, let's get to this topic of Dabo Swinney, the head coach of Clemson. Uh, he did not have any shortage of words when it comes to the alleged tampering that's been going on from Ole Miss and Pete Golding concerning a linebacker named Luke Varelli. And I'm not going to be playing this video that goes into it, which is the press conference of Dabo Swinney. He goes into about 18 minutes worth of talking about this very topic. It's that's going to be in the description box below, so you guys can check out for yourselves. But let me just tell you guys, it's going to be a very interesting listen, to say the least. So, with that said, Mike, have you had the chance to listen to that press conference of Dabo Swinney, and what
I,
are your thoughts?
I did, and I think he said what a lot of people want to say and have said. I mean, I think people have been saying this for years. There have been other coaches. There was Norvell at Colorado State went on a similar rant. Um, hold on a second. I got people coming down here. Okay, so he said what everyone wanted to say, and what the fans want to say, that the portal is just absolutely insane. It's the Wild West. There's no rules. There are rules, but they don't enforce the rules. Right after this is the week right after the Duke quarterback Mensa, just his case, he signed a 2-year contract, but 2-year contracts aren't 2-year contracts. I guess there's 1-year contracts, or who knows if someone's just going to quit in the middle of the season. So, yeah, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, and really for me, it highlights to me uh, that we need to have rules in place. We definitely need to have rules in place for enforcement. What are the rules? Whether it's the NCAA or the CSC, the College Sports Commission, we have to have rules in place where everybody in college football can follow. Whether you're in the Power Four conferences or the Group of Six conferences, the rules have to mean something for everybody. And clearly, what's going on here with issues like this, or the Damon Williams Jr. situation up in Washington, that's another issue where a player signs a legally binding contract and the very next day doesn't even honor it. It wants to transfer out anyway.
Right.
That's a problem. That is just a big problem where it's like, okay, you got to have rules in place to stop this. So,
Yeah, I mean, these kids have never been told no in their lives, so
yeah,
they don't really even understand that. Like, if they've probably been moved on from their third grade team to the fourth grade team to the fifth grade elite team to the super elite to the elite league, and they've never been told no, and
right.
they've probably, the old days of a player growing up in a town, playing on his hometown team, like youth football, youth basketball, travel, this or that, is over. Like, the kids that make it this far are put into all sorts of, you know, leagues, even camps, going around the country to Nike elite camps, and they get gift bags, and they're just not used to being told no at all. And so when someone says, you can make twice as much more money, they'll say, yeah, okay, and then they'll be like, well, no, actually you can't. You signed this contract. They're like,
Right.
contract. My daddy just switched me teams and my AAU basketball. I can switch teams, right?
Right.
So it just there's no end in sight for this right now. Just no end in sight. And you know, Dabo, good luck to him. But the guy left. Um, he's not coming back. Who's even in charge to put in any sanctions in? Like who's in charge?
Right.
Is it I mean, there's all these different groups. There's the conferences. There is um, the I don't know if they don't have the Power Four doesn't have like a group like BCS used to have like a leadership. I don't know if it's just the Wild West out there. Who knows who's in charge? If they do some sort of sanction, um, they'll just ignore it. They they've gone to the courts. The courts haven't really helped. It's just people say they hate it and people say they're not watching college football, but I don't know if that's true because it seems like the stadiums are still full and the TV ratings are still there, and so I don't know. We'll see. It's very frustrating. An OU fan, we get it all the time. We get players who leave, and it's kind of heartbreaking, I guess. But to actually have this happen when it did, the Golding allegedly just right off his national championship game says, "Hey, we're right during that whole time." I'm not sure when the tampering happened. It might have, these days it might happen during the game. I mean, they had
Right.
his cell phone out, like, "Hey, look at this. You want to be part of this." So, uh, I guess there'll be an investigation, but I can't see anything happening. Like, there's no. I mean, football is a game of rules. Like, you can't play football without rules. So the whole structure of the game is based on rules, but if you're not going to have rules outside the game, it's just I don't know. It's not going to be pretty.
Yeah. I just find it interesting the timing of this, and also the fact that it had to be Dabo Swinney of all head coaches to speak out about this, because he was one of the very few guys out there that basically went out and said, I don't really want to use the transfer portal in general.
Right.
Uh, but
He
now
was
that
the
he's
old school. I'm gonna develop kids. They're gonna stay here, and he's just that hasn't really happened because there's just so much. I think they thought, hey, we're Clemson. If you've ever been down there and like Greenville and area, like it's Clemson everywhere. Everything's got the tiger paws, and they
right.
have so much money. And if they can't even keep these people, then it's insane. It's just insane. I
Yeah.
don't know where are we going with this. Like,
It,
are we
yeah.
gonna have like you know $40 million rosters, and then if a team falls on their face, there's some injuries. People are gonna be mad. They're gonna be like, "We spent $40 million in this," and it's not like a professional team. They're spending their own money. They're spending your money as a fan.
Right.
So oof.
Yeah. Clemson is what I consider to be a go-to kind of destination for players. It's a big name in the ACC. So for a player like Luke Farrelly to still be convinced that, hey, you should just go to Ole Miss. And the fact that another point that I want to take from this is that he was already enrolled in Clemson. He was participating in football related activities with the team for at least a week, reportedly. He was taking classes, he was being active on campus. And even so, even after that, he was like, yep, I'm still going to go to Ole Miss after all this. There's
Yeah,
something about it that's just, it doesn't sound right, and it doesn't pass the smell test. Let me
yeah, and
say
I
that.
don't think I don't think there was anything where he said, "Well, Clemson isn't for me. They sold me, goods or whatever." It was just like, the grass is greener over here, and
Yeah.
so greener. So
Hmm.
that's it.
Yep.
And I mean,
So
Ole Miss is a great, it's a great story this year. So they're kind of on the up and up. I mean, but like the teams that are, Ohio State lost 27 guys. I remember when OU lost the year the Rourke left, we lost 35 guys, and we were like number now like Ohio State's losing 27, 28 guys. Michigan's losing, and they're all just playing musical chairs.
Right.
The guys are going from Alabama to Michigan, Michigan to Alabama, and it's like getting paid more. That's kind of crazy.
So we'll have to wait and see how this turns out with the NCAA, because Dabo said that he's turned in all this stuff to the NCAA, but I would not hold my breath on that. What's going to
No, what
materialize from
rule
that?
is there? What rule do they break? I
Yeah,
mean, there's
exactly.
no
Yeah,
rule that says if you tamper with someone, you can't go to a bowl game or
right,
you're ineligible for the playoff. So there's no, um, there's no motivation not to do it. There's no
right.
incentive not to do it. Just okay, yell at me, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah. That in summary, it's like either we have a set in stone, group of rules that everybody follows, or we don't. That it's
Yeah.
just that
And we
simple.
have everyone out there says we need rules, but no one's making the rules. No
Right,
one's There's no committees to do rules. There's no leadership. There's no consensus that these rules need to be done by a given date. So it's going to be the same thing next
right.
year. I'd be surprised if it wasn't,
Yeah,
and worse.
yeah. So yeah, again, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But if history tells us anything, this thing might not even go anywhere. So
Right.
let's just move on to the next topic, and this is very much an interesting uh, topic, not necessarily about football. I'm about to share this here. Share the screen here. Let's see. Hopefully, I got it. Hmm. Yeah, uh, live streaming. Anyway, I got it right here. This screenshot of what the Post, Athens student newspaper, reported back in mid-January. I'm just going to read it here. This was taken off Instagram, a post they made, and this is basically titled, at the time it was breaking news, OU identified as a school affected by NCAA basketball scandal. And the subheadline down below says federal prosecutors charged 20 people, including 15 NCAA Division I basketball players, in a scheme to fix NCAA and Chinese Basketball Association games during the 2023 to 2024 and 2024 to 2025 seasons. And it says here on the post uh, on Instagram here, Ohio men's basketball games were affected by an alleged gambling scandal, according to a new federal indictment. Now, keep in mind, this was posted back in mid January. So keep that in mind, guys. An FBI investigation found 20 people, made up of over a dozen NCAA Division I men's basketball players, fixed several games in the 2023, 2024, and 2024, 2025 seasons. Ohio University was identified as a school affected by a federal indictment against 20 people, including 15 former NCAA Division I men's basketball players, over alleged game fixing. The prosecutors claimed the people indicted created a betting scheme to fix games in the NCAA and the Chinese Basketball Association in those seasons. Uh, okay. The 15 basketball players indicted played as recently as the 2024-2025 season, while prosecutors claim the other 5 men indicted were described by authorities as fixers. Investigators identified several Mid-American Conference teams, MAC teams, as being affected. Western Michigan University, Buffalo, and Kent State were affected alongside OU, according to the indictment. No people working for OU or players on Ohio teams were identified in the current indictment. According to the indictment, the betting scheme started in September 2022, later evolving to include college basketball players. The players were paid anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 to intentionally compromise games for sports betting purposes. The indictment follows increased investigations into illegal sports betting and game fixing from the NCAA. In the past several months, the NCAA has given 10 players lifetime bans for bets that sometimes involve their own teams and performances. the NCAA has said that at least 30 players have been investigated over gambling allegations. Now, before I continue to the other part of this, which is from Beaver County Radio, Mike, what are your thoughts initially about that?
Well, I mean, as far as OU's involvement in it, I mean,
Right.
they were just the game had to be against somebody. Just happened to be, we had a couple conference schools in there, so it'd be more likely to happen against us. You know, uh, this isn't the first time a MAC school's been caught up in this. I think in Toledo, 2009, there was a really big point shaving scandal. I think some Detroit area businessmen got involved because online gambling is a thing now. Anywhere like in Ohio, you can gamble, but it's always been a thing in Vegas, and so people used to talk these players into shaving points. They've been doing it a lot. There's been quite a few of these over the years. It does seem like maybe there's a little bit more now. There's more money involved in the online gambling. Um, yeah, it's again, you're having these kids and they don't have a whole lot of money and they're easy prey for some of these people to just dribble it off your foot here. I don't know, did you see any of the highlights of these games?
I did not see the highlights of a lot of these games from I've watched various YouTube videos
Yeah, I
that
mean
was
there's somewhere,
discussing this.
the cat, they pass it ahead to this guy for he's gonna have a dunk and it just went through
Yeah.
my hands and
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of this is, I think point shaving maybe used to be a little bit harder because um, it was just all based on the end of the game. How there's first half, the game, the point spread, the how many, points is a team going to score over under. And it seems like, depending on the state, players are involved. So um, there's a lot more, the Cleveland Guardians pitchers who did this, they were just like, is the next pitch going to be a strike or a ball? And, boom, this $400,000 bet goes down and he throws it in the dirt. And, they have all this stuff computerized and the data analytics and stuff. I mean, these people, I don't know if they're just dumb or whatever, but the red flags go off.
Yeah.
Like when there's these outline bets, like who puts that much money on a May game for the Guardians, whether this guy's gonna throw a striker ball. And the same thing happened in these games where I think a lot of it was like first half point spread. It wasn't even the end of the game. So they could come back in the second half and win. So, but it was like, why are you going to be down by more than 3 points at halftime? So, hey, dribble off my foot here, dribble off my foot there. They didn't get away with it though.
Right. And the thought that just came to my mind just now, I wasn't thinking about this previously, but when I review this story, it kind of does remind me of way back when in baseball. Major League Baseball has had a couple of related issues to this, like way back in 1919, the Chicago White Sox, the World Series, they threw the games there. They were
Mm-hmm.
called the Black Sox, nicknamed the Black Sox because of a
Yeah, right.
scandal, because they're pretty much the same thing. So it's interesting how throughout history, uh, sports seems to kind of repeat itself when it comes to stuff like this.
Who was this? I was just remembering there's an Alabama baseball coach just a couple years ago. I'm looking this up. Brad Bohannon.
Brad
Same thing.
Bohannon,
He's
yeah,
just like he's got a buddy placing bets, and they know who and they know
right,
who your contacts are, and they know who your brother are, and who you're. So if you're a college athlete and you think, hey, I'm going to have my brother's roommate place a bet, they have it all down. Like
right,
it's like those people searches on. It used to be peoplesearch.com or yellow pages where, and they would have all your relatives and all your addresses, and then this is all run through a big data spreadsheet. And if anything comes up, you know, and a lot of it is there's not people doing this. It's just, you know, bots or whatever looking through this stuff, and these red flags go up and they'll catch you. So
Yeah. So now we can move on to this other part, which is now I think I can do this, share the screen. Yes. So I'm going to read this part by the Beaver County Radio. It's a short article that's titled here, Former Pittsburgher accused of being ringleader of NCAA and Chinese Basketball Association betting scheme. Now, this was posted on January 27th. And so, as this story goes here, a man named Shane Hennon, formerly of Pittsburgh, is accused of being the ringleader of a large point shaving scheme that has turned the world of college basketball upside down. An indictment was revealed in Philadelphia on January 15th, 2026, and it involved betting on NCAA and Chinese Basketball Association games and rigging them. This investigation has implicated 26 people, which includes over a dozen college basketball players who allegedly tried to fix games. Shane Hennon was a pool hustler, a gambling fixer who was petty and a suspected drug dealer in the Steel City. Wow. Hennon got into a tussle outside a nightclub in the south side of Pittsburgh in 2009 with a former Duquesne Dukes basketball player. He, he accused them of cheating on a gambling debt. Hennon then pled guilty to aggravated assault and was sentenced to 18 36 months in prison. According to federal prosecutors, he moved to Philadelphia, where in 2022 he was accused of hatching the point shaving scheme with two other people. The trio are accused of fixing games in the Chinese Basketball Association, where they celebrated their early success before it spread to the NCAA games. Wow. Uh, that is definitely uh, quite a bit, even in just a short paragraph here. And apparently this started, the roots of it was like Chinese Basketball Association, which that part caught me off guard. But
yeah, I mean, who knew that you could some dude from Pittsburgh could bet on Chinese basketball games? He just
so
can bet on anything.
yeah, you could tell
This guy
where
seems like a character, though, man. Like an old fashioned, just like he's from Pittsburgh, but he could, you know, Jimmy the Greek was from Steubenville, like
right,
Steel Town, like tough guy, and you know, shaking down people. Like they knew this guy. Like it's like the third time he's been in trouble. So
right,
I was reading this article. He would pay these kids $10,000 to $30,000 per game. So
right,
that's how much money he was making on these bets. So if you're paying 39 players, then you know $1 million you put out to these kids. So you know, look again, like what like he didn't think this was gonna ring any bells and whistles.
yeah,
This stuff is so regulated, and these people do not want to lose money, and they they put so much money into data analysis of their bets and who's placing them and stuff. They probably had this, you know. I imagine the gambling sites knew this, and then they passed along all the information to the feds. Um, Again, like it's just again a low life. Just thought he was smarter than that. I guess he says he's got an Instagram. He calls himself Sugar Shane or Twitter. Go Sugar Shane, and he's doing the whole like I guarantee you Buffalo's gonna win this game. Like who
it's
would have
just
guessed? Yeah,
sad. It's sad when I
yeah,
read stuff like that. It's like, dude, you could be doing something better with your time, really. But that's just how I feel about that.
yeah. Again, I guess you know they had to have known this guy's like, oh, it's him. Are you surprised? No, not at all. Not surprised at all. We knew it was him the whole time. You know.
It just sounds like a bad B movie for a
Yeah,
mafia
right. Yeah, yeah.
story.
Yeah, it was. I wonder how many bad beats were on this. But again, like I think they did it a lot of times in the first. I think his thing was we'll do it at the halftime score, and then we won't get on ESPN. You know, Van Pelt won't say bad beats, and people won't raise their eyebrows. But sure enough, they did. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully, once again, hopefully things get sorted out along those lines. College basketball has been having their own fair share of issues lately with transfer related issues, and even this, the gambling
Yeah, I
scandal.
think LeBron James might come back and play for our state. The
Well,
way it's headed, like he's why not? Like they think he might come back to Cleveland, but I think he's just gonna go to Ohio State. Maybe he'll go
anyway.
to Akron. Maybe he might go to Akron, finish out the season.
uh, anyway, uh, moving on to a topic that you pitched, Mike, and that would be this story involving Rutgers University. And when I read this, I was like, yeah, this is definitely something that we need to talk about here. So I'm sharing this here on the screen right now. I got it on Yahoo Sports. This is where I could access it. It's titled Rutgers Athletics Hits Record $78 million Deficit. New AD says it's got to get better. This story was originally posted on NJ.com, written by Keith Sargent. This was back on the 26th of January. So let's get started with this. Kelly Zinn was hired as the Rutgers University Athletics Director on July 30th, 2025, about a month after the school's fiscal year ended. She understood going into the job that Rutgers' financial struggles have been intensely scrutinized for decades. After taking over, Zinn quickly dug in and studied the school's athletics ledger herself. Her initial impression? Regardless how we slice this thing, it's got to get better, Zinn said. The sentiment remains true, with Rutgers' latest athletics financial report showing its deficit topped $70 million for the third time in 5 years in 2024-2025, after the state university spent a record $193.8 million, documents show. New Jersey Advanced Media obtained Rutgers' latest fiscal year report, which covers the 2024-2025 academic year, through an Open Public Records Act request. The report shows $146.6 million in total operating revenues, thanks to a record $61.3 million from the Big Ten for its media rights and $10.7 million from the conference as its share of the league's football bowl revenue fund. I'm gonna stop there temporarily. Uh, First off, Mike, what are you thinking about the numbers here being reported?
Well, I know one thing for sure: Rutgers is not gonna steal any players from Clemson.
No, I
They
don't think
don't have the
so.
money. They do not have the money to do this. So, I think I read where UCLA's deficit's ridiculous. Michigan State, and they got a big donation, which will help take care of some of that. But some of these deficits these programs are running are absolutely insane, and it's kind of what we talked about last year, where the Big Ten's asking for you know about the revenue sharing and this and that because they're getting it from their members like Rutgers. They're drowning, like they have no hope. Like you can't turn a team around like just with that kind of money. Like you could sell out every game, and that's not going to take care of that. So uh, yeah. So and then you got Michigan and Ohio State. They're like, yeah, maybe we don't want to be around you guys anymore. So I also think what we talked about last year about private equity and is some Wall Street bank going to come and buy Rutgers up, their athletics? What would that look like?
Right,
And can they possibly raise another $50 million in revenue?
right,
So if you're looking, their revenue they got to raise is higher than most Division One schools' budgets. That's insane.
yep. And I will continue on a little bit more here before we stop. Uh, Going on, those gains were offset by an 8.7 increase in Rutgers sports spending from the previous year. The highest expenditures included $46.1 million in coaching salaries, $31 million in support staff and administrator salaries, $23.1 million in scholarship aid, $14.4 million in facilities debt, $13.5 million in team travel, and $8.4 million in student athlete meals. The ledger shows a $47.2 million shortfall when added to the $7 million subsidized from the school's general budget, $8 million from the state budget, and $15.8 million in student fees. The department's deficit reached a record $78 million.
That's
Wow.
crazy. 15.8. So people are like, oh, you don't belong in D1. You student fees. Rutgers, 15.8 million in student fees. That's crazy. Like I had no idea. I had no idea.
Yeah,
That's so all these students are paying, and then I don't know if they get free tickets even. Like, do they get free tickets like they do at like Mac schools, or do they have to pay for their tickets on top of the fees?
right. Yeah, it's hard to see which Power Four conference schools are actually doing well financially and which ones aren't. Because I've heard similar stories about stuff going on with West Virginia University, the Mountaineers.
Oh, the
They've
whole
had like
school, West
yeah,
Virginia, the whole school's in trouble. Like
yeah,
the whole system. They're canceling majors and you know big budget cuts there. So you know, again, they want to come in and compete because they've done it in the past, and they hired a coach who has done it before. But I think everything's kind of changed. Like
right,
as far as that. Interesting. I remember when last time Rutgers was good, they played West Virginia and like at this big game at the end of the year.
yeah,
And they're like, and both teams were like really, and since then it's like, so yeah, I'm not sure. Like, again, like, I think everyone's lost their mind sending these people all over the country, for this and that. And it's a hard sell to the other, Olympic sports. But, 13.5 million for team travel. Um, Even if they were regional and you cut that down to like six, you're still going to be way in debt. So I don't know if it's necessarily the travel or just the every week looking at your standings and being like at the bottom of the Big Ten, and then at the bottom
right.
of the Big 12, and then at the bottom of the Big 25 or whatever it is now. You know,
Yeah,
so you're like we're we can make a bowl, but we're like there's like 14 teams ahead of us in our conference.
right. And to top it off here with this article, it brings Rutgers' athletics deficit to $516.9 million since joining the Big Ten in 2014, 2015. That says a lot right there. Uh, and further going on here, Rutgers' expenditures have increased nearly 175% over its first 11 years in the Big Ten. A review of the school's annual financial reports shows. Rutgers 193, that number, $1 million total expenditures was 3.7% of the university's $5.28 billion budget in 2024-2025 documents show. And I think I'm going to stop it right there.
Yeah, why not? Like half a
So,
billion. That's it. That's the headline number.
yeah,
$500 million they've lost. And she says that this year's going to be even worse because they're going to spend $20 million institutional support on NIL. So spending is going to go up to over 200 million. And yikes, and like they got no stadium projects, and they got nothing. There's nothing,
right.
nothing going on in Rutgers except, and it's a shame. It's like the birthplace of football.
Yeah.
So
It's just, I guess it goes, you know, not as reported as it should because we always hear stuff about, oh, is this group of six school making enough money for their games? And of course, you got to, keep track of that, but not enough attention is being paid to what's going on up in the Power Four level.
Yeah,
Because
I
when you get
agree.
a story like this with Rutgers, it's like, okay, why are they struggling? Why are they having financial issues? Aren't the Big Ten really supporting them? Which, you know, it's a mystery right now.
But look at Indiana. Like they were probably like just 1 year. You hire a coach, he can turn it around. I guess I don't know. But when you're that, like I said, when you'd have to sell out like every game and jack the ticket prices up, and still don't know if you balance budget.
Yeah. So it's just, I do think that we're going to hear more stories about certain schools having financial issues. Just earlier today, I started hearing stuff about Florida State having their own financial issues. I'll have to look more into that. But I already mentioned West Virginia. We're reading a story about Rutgers right now. I'm pretty sure there are more Power Four level schools that are having quite a bit of financial issues right now, and for some reason they're just not being reported. As far as this goes with Rutgers,
Well,
I
I
do
think
think,
you have
yeah,
like you're kind of in the age of where we're in big, huge asset inflation. So if you have wealthy people, their portfolios are going up, and then they can kick in. But if this is wherever to like we were going to get into like a 2008, 2009 situation where assets start deflating, stock market, you know, some of this money could dry up really fast.
yeah, I do think ultimately Rutgers will be okay because as of right now, they still have the backing of the Big Ten. If the Big Ten really wanted to kick out Rutgers from the conference, they probably would have done it a few years
Well,
ago.
the crazy thing is,
Yeah,
I think the Big Ten. This is like this weird relationship where the Big Ten, through their TV contracts, uses Rutgers to make a lot of money
right,
because of all the TVs in the New York metro area, which somehow get them this huge contract. But the money isn't going back. So it seems like Rutgers is subsidizing the wealth of the Big Ten, and they're not getting the money back. So it would be interesting if I would say if there was any split here, it would be Rutgers who would choose to leave.
right. Because they can't
Who
really
would want
address their financial
them?
issues.
I
Yeah,
don't think the ACC is going to want them.
yeah. Big 12, not sure. So we'll
Maybe,
just have
maybe
to wait and
like I
see.
said, like a lot of that. We'll see a lot of this when the TV contracts come up. There'll be some jockeying around because that's when the dollars start getting planned. Um, yeah, so definitely keep your eye on that one.
Yep. So that will conclude the topics that we have for this episode, episode 80 of Bobcat Corner. Um, in summary, wrapping all this up with all the topics that we talked about, it's obviously quite a challenge for college sports to really get a hold of what's going on financially. There seems to be some sort of financial issues, whether it's getting a player to sign with your team, with your school, or something underhanded like a betting scandal, or even with this when your university is like having financial issues, it's like all across the
Yeah, I mean,
board.
I feel like it's like you're like it's like the stock market. It's spawned this whole industry of finance.
Right,
Let's pay attention to this company and this company. I feel like that's what college football's turned into. Like the finance part of it is very important. And it's
right.
not, how does that translate to on the field? So um, yeah, it's going to be under non-stop scrutiny.
Yep. So with that, that will conclude Bobcat Corner episode 80. I'd like to thank you guys for watching this. Um, Again, if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing to SCV Castle and click the notification bell. We will be back with more Bobcat Corner very soon here, talking about the Ohio Bobcats and college sports in general. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much, Mike, for joining me, and
All
thank you
right,
guys
thanks
for watching.
everybody. Have a good one.
Take care, guys.